Hey, what's up? It's me, Garrett. Today I'm going to be talking about Legend of Zelda. What is up, YouTube? It's me, Garrett641, back again. This is going to be like a little redux. I think that's how they spell it, at least. They type in redux, but I think it's just pronounced redo. This is going to be an enhanced version of my Tears of the Kingdom review. Now, I haven't touched the game since I did that review, so these are just points that I didn't really bring up when I did the original review. It's just stuff like story, little gripes, little gripes. I don't hate the game. I want to clarify, I don't hate the game. I just have so many problems with it. Today's video is going to be kind of a rant about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm also going to be propping up Skyward Sword, which used to be really hated, but after the HD re-release, I think it deserves more merit, especially since I'm starting to get a little bit sick of the open world formula, and I think that Nintendo can learn a lot from its older games while keeping some of the fun exploration of the open world stuff. Okay, so one problem I have is that it's not fresh anymore. The thing that made Breath of the Wild so good is that it was a breath of fresh air. It was the first time Zelda has done something like this, aka freedom, open world, all that good stuff. All of the Zelda games are known for exploring places you've never been before, going through these crazy dungeons, going through these crazy worlds, fighting all these crazy monsters. Legend of Zelda, I feel, is about discovery and finding new ways to challenge yourself, and there's lots of puzzles and obstacles to overcome and lots of battles to fight, and it's always been very based on exploration in a way that is different to now with the open world Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom. The world in Breath of the Wild was amazing. The world in Tears of the Kingdom is the same world as Breath of the Wild. Does it mean it's less amazing? No, it's actually more amazing. There's more to explore in Tears of the Kingdom. The problem is that most of it is the exact same as the stuff from Breath of the Wild. And the new stuff they added wasn't even that cool. The depths, it's cool for like the first few hours of being down there, but then you realize that most of the depths is the same everywhere you go. Sky Islands were also added. Those are cool, but Sky Islands have already been in Zelda games. 1. 2, most of the Sky Islands are kinda the same, and they're just so far away from each other that it just makes it a pain in the butt to traverse that area unless you make a hover bike. And the problem comes when you've spent 200 hours collecting every little thing in Breath of the Wild, and now you have to do it again for Tears of the Kingdom. And also, shrines. I mean, like, the fact that this game did shrines just like the last one, I feel like is just kind of creatively bankrupt. Now, I'm not saying there shouldn't be shrines, but the fact that it's the same way of progressing as the last game makes it a little less enjoyable to do them all, despite the fact that the shrines in Tears of the Kingdom are better than the shrines in Breath of the Wild. Recently, I've been playing Skyward Sword a lot, and that game is known to be the most linear Zelda game ever. It's so linear, in fact, that the overworld is like almost a dungeon itself. But I ended up liking it more than Tears of the Kingdom. Skyward Sword had a kind of formula where every time I would see something, like, let's say, like I see like a lever or something, and I'm like, I can't reach that lever. There must be an item I can get later where I can. You know, so there's a lot of things where it's like you notice little things and you're like, I have to come back later and get that and do that. Skyward Sword had a really great gameplay loop where, yes, there was only 3 little areas you can visit, but it made it to where every time you went back to an area that you've already been, there was something new to do because you unlocked a new item. unlike in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, where items are abundant and everywhere. In older Zelda games, if you got one item, that item unlocked millions of new possibilities for you. So don't even get me started on the side quests. Every little side quest in Tears of the Kingdom is just like, go over here, do this, talk to this guy, go find this, go collect this, give me this many items. Another problem I have with it is that the story makes no sense. The story is bad writing, in my opinion. Now, I can't stress this enough, Zelda stories, they never really made sense to begin with. The plots were kind of like mixed here and there. You had to really stretch to put all the pieces together to make the timeline make sense. This game either A, ruins the timeline, or B, you have to make a new timeline split to make it make sense. Because Ganon's back, but it's a different Ganon than the one in Ocarina of Time. It's a completely different Ganon. The origins of Hyrule are different. We don't even know if, like, Hylia is real anymore. Like, I don't know, like, it just doesn't make sense for Hylia to exist without the Hylians before. I think Zelda becoming a dragon is cool, though, so I'll give them points for that. But it also makes less sense because there's so many characters you met in Breath of the Wild that you helped out, and then they just don't recognize you in Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom story, just like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom story can be found around the map in these little, like, puddles, like, kind of like memories type deal. The problem is that you can find the story out of order and get spoiled on the big surprise of the story before you even...
Huh?
You can get spoiled on the story before you even start the story, because they're all out of order. You know, you have to either A, get all the stories in order, or B, collect the dragon tears and just not watch them, which is just weird. And the fact that this story doesn't really line up with any other Zelda game kind of, like, ruins a little bit of it for me. Now, it's not a big deal if the gameplay was super fresh, and luckily, you know, the Zonai mechanics of, like, building things is fun, but it isn't the entire game. You can beat the entire game without putting anything together except for a few puzzles. What irritates me even more is that Skyward Sword was literally made so that the timeline had a start. Skyward Sword was literally made for the story. Tears of the Kingdom has a story, but it doesn't line up with any of the other Zelda games. It only makes things more complicated. What would make more sense in the timeline is that right after Skyward Sword, a new branch comes out where it's just Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because no way does Ocarina of Time come before this. It would make no sense, because if there was a Ganon back in the day where Hyrule was, like, forming, you know, like during the forming of Hyrule, wouldn't you think they would be prepared for Ganon's return if there was, like, the corpse of another Ganon underneath the castle? It would make no sense for Tears of the Kingdom to be after Ocarina of Time. Did you like that video? Do you like Zelda? Well, good for you, because I stream Legend of Zelda here on YouTube. So I just beat Wind Waker, I just started Twilight Princess, so if you like me, if you like my videos, if you want to support a small streamer, go check out my Zelda streams. It's awesome, it's a fun time, and if you liked this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, bell notification, give me a high five if you see me next time you see me. And if you've made it this far into the video, comment something about baloney, or I don't know.
Ding doink, you're my favorite coin. Want you to dink on my face, take a doink on my chest.